Good afternoon and welcome to the Commodity Update. My name is Cody Bills. Today is August 23rd. We're going to be joined today by Peter McKeegan out of Chicago, Illinois. Peter is a market advisor and broker with FBN Crop Marketing, and we're going to be focusing in on wheat, talking about prices, where we think they might be going, and also some strategies that you can use if you find yourself a little behind in your crop marketing plan. Peter, let's just talk a little bit about wheat prices because, man, they have been all over the place. Last week, we broke down through consolidation. We were trading in a range. We broke down through that consolidation and tested a really key support level right around that 743, and really it's been up from there. So we rebounded off that 743 and we continued that movement higher here. But when you look at wheat relative to corn and soybeans, we're definitely we're well off our highs. We're about 30% off of the highs for the December contract compared to corn, which is only 14% off their highs, and soybeans, which is really only 8% off the highs for the November contract. So wheat continues to be pressured here. What is causing the weakness in wheat prices, and is this going to be long-lived?
Well, I think most of the negative inputs here for prices on wheat are fairly short-term in duration. The biggest thing is probably the looming harvest up in Canada. Very large crop coming on in Canada. That harvest is just around the corner, and eventually, there is going to be some downward pressure on prices as we head into harvest there. Seasonally, the time is about right to put in some type of a pre-harvest high and then have pressure into harvest, going forward. But also there's a few other factors out there. You have a massive crop over in Russia, 95 million metric tons. And I think without a doubt that's weighing on the market. But you also have a Ukraine grain corridor that has opened up. And that's working far better than any of the skeptics really thought. And so for the time being, the Black Sea seems to be open and some wheat is shipping out of the Black Sea. And so I think all of those factors there, the big Canadian harvest, the large Russian crop, the fact the Black Sea appears to be open for business, at least temporarily, these things are all weighing on prices here in the near term.
So Pete, what are you telling your customers right now? Is this a time to be getting more aggressive at protecting against further price declines?
Well, for clients who are current with our recommendations, there really are no big changes here. They're current with the program and there are no changes to make. We're looking for opportunities for additional sales going forward. So, and perhaps we could be at a reownership opportunity for those people who are caught up with their cash sales.
So Pete, you just talked about a reownership strategy. Are you telling me that this means that there could be some bullish price action that could happen later on this crop marketing year?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think the negative factors on price here are very short term in duration, but I think the supportive things that are out there are far more long term in duration. There are many factors out there that could cause wheat to go back higher here. Name a factor. Everything from bad weather in Europe to the Ukraine grain corridor. That Ukraine grain corridor is working better than everyone thought right now, but it is a temporary deal. What happens after that deal expires? Also, you've had harsh weather in China. You've had harsh weather in the EU. We've had challenging weather here in the US. So no shortage of long-term bullish inputs there.
For customers that are caught up, you're talking about a reownership strategy. What option are you looking at? Are you looking at something off of the DEES, the March, the May?
For reownership right now, I want to go out to March. I want to have at least that much time on a reownership strategy. I really think that's where the opportunities are. I think all of these things we're talking about, these bullish indicators that could factor in later in the year, these things will become apparent to people in the December timeframe, I think. So I think a December reownership wouldn't quite have enough time on it. I want to go out to March.
So Pete, for people that are not caught up, people that have not been making sales, maybe you've been in a drought, maybe you're really concerned about production, and so you weren't able to forward contract any bushels of wheat before harvest. Now, say you got the harvest, you have it in the bin, and you're trying to figure out when's the right time to pull the trigger, when's the right time to price this stuff. What's the strategy for someone like that? You've just seen prices go from $12 down to $7. Obviously, people still see that underlying bullish stocks to use global situation and the factors in Ukraine, and they're saying prices have got to go up here, but you really can't afford for prices to continue moving lower, what do you do?
Well, I think there's certainly quite a few producers that find themselves in that situation. There were some pretty harsh conditions throughout the growing year, and I really can't blame a producer for not wanting to forward sell if they're just uncertain about their production. So I think it does make some sense to have some kind of a floor in place here going forward, because, like I said, I think the negative factors that are in the wheat market right now are pretty short term in duration, and the supportive things are more long run in duration. So I think it's going to take the wheat market a little bit of time to figure that out. But in the near term, I definitely want to keep some kind of floor underneath the wheat.
So do you do a put or a put spread, or like what specifically, what sort of a strategy would you be using to put a floor here under your wheat bushels?
I want to be very careful just how much money I have tied up in puts right here. We did come up against some very long-term support in the markets, and we traded off that long-term support pretty strongly. So I think that long-term support is going to hold, but what if we're wrong? I think it makes sense to have a floor there. I think I would do something along the lines of a risk reversal here, buying a
Okay.
put and selling a call against it to try to cheapen up that put to get in closer to the market. And I think I want to set that out in December. I like the December time frame because I really think that's where the downside risk is. Beyond December, I'm a lot more friendly to wheat prices.
Got it. So you're just saying utilize a risk reversal. The benefits here is that you're not laying out so much in premium to buy a put. You're kind of offsetting the put purchase with a sold call. It does cap your upside. It does cap your upside. So a sharp move higher here, you wouldn't be able to fully participate, especially up above the strike on the sold call. But it does put a floor in here really for the short term. And that's what it sounds like is the most important in terms of your outlook on the market. Is that correct, Peter?
Absolutely. I mean, it is a marginal position, and if the market does move higher, you could be subject to margin calls, that's for sure. But remember, this is a strategy for people who are undersold, and higher prices will be good for people who are undersold. If the market moves higher, we know what to do. We'll cover the call, we'll make some cash sales.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, Pete. I appreciate your insights on the markets as always. If you have any interest in the market advisory service here at FBN, feel free to reach out to the number on the screen. Also, don't forget September 1st, we're actually going to be releasing the operating lines of credit for FBN Finance. That's going to be online. So you're going to be able to, in about 5 to 10 minutes, quickly apply for an operating line. You'll get instantaneous notification on whether or not you're approved or denied. That's for loans up to $1 million. So there's a lot of great things going on at FBN. Those operating lines are available on September 1st. So make sure you get online and start your application if you have interest. Again, if you have any questions about that, please feel free, reach out to the number on the screen. We'd be happy to help point you in the right direction.